Dear learners, today we will discuss about hazard, vulnerability, capacity and risks, HVCR, assessment tools and its techniques. See, hazard, vulnerability, capacity and risk assessment is a participatory rural appraisal based approach that actively involves local communities in identifying hazard, vulnerabilities, available capacities and potential risks. It encourages people to share their knowledge, experiences, and priorities through participatory tools such as social mapping, resource mapping, seasonal calendars, and focused group discussions. HVCR helps assess and what are most at risk while recognizing existing strengths and coping mechanisms within the community. The findings provide a strong evidence base for developing effective disaster preparedness, mitigation, response, and recovery plans, ensuring that disaster risk reduction strategies are community centered, inclusive, and sustainable and also practical. Next is transect work. Transect work is a participatory field assessment technique in which community members, local leaders, and officials work together along a planned route across the affected or study area. The objective is to directly observe land use, terrain, natural resources, infrastructure, hazard-prone locations, vulnerable households, and existing community assets. During the walk, participants discuss local conditions, identify risks, and document important observations. The information collected is presented as a transect diagram illustrating changes in landscape, hazards, resources, and vulnerabilities along the route. This tool supports disaster mitigation by identifying unsafe areas for development and strengthens preparedness through evacuation route and resource planning. Next is hazard mapping. Hazard mapping is a participatory tool in which community members prepare a map identifying areas exposed to hazards such as floods, landslides, fires, earthquakes, or other local risks. The process combines local knowledge with field observations to locate vulnerable settlements, critical infrastructure, natural resources, evacuation routes, and safe areas. It helps visualize the distribution, frequency, and intensity of hazard within the community. The resulting hazard map provides a clear spatial representation of risks and exposure, supporting informed decision making. It is widely used for disaster mitigation through land use planning and structural measures and for response by identifying shelters, evacuation routes, and relief distribution points. Next is social or resource mapping is a participatory assessment tool used to identify the social structure, infrastructure, and available resources within a community. Community members prepare a map showing households, schools, health centers, roads, water sources, community buildings, and other essential facilities. The mapping also highlights vulnerable groups such as older adults, persons with disabilities, children, pregnant women, and women-headed households. At the same time, it identifies local capacities, including volunteers, community organizations, shelters, and emergency resources. This information supports disaster preparedness by enabling targeted assistance, efficient resource allocation, inclusive evacuation planning, and protection of vulnerable population during emergencies. Next is problem tree analysis. Say problem tree analysis is a participatory planning tool and used to identify and analyze a community's core problems, its underlying root causes, and the resulting effects or the consequences. The central problem is represented as the trunk of a tree, the root causes as the roots, and the impacts as the branches. This visual approach helps communities and planners understand the factors that create and increase vulnerability rather than focusing only on visible disaster impacts. By revealing cause and effect relationships, problem tree analysis supports informed decision making and the development of effective mitigation strategies that address the underlying causes of disaster risks and build long-term community resilience. The Chapati diagram, or we can say Venn diagram, is a participatory tool used to analyze the relationships between a community and the institutions or organizations that support it. Circles of different sizes represent various agencies, with larger circles indicating greater importance. The distance and overlap between circles show the level of interaction, coordination, influence, and trust between the community and these institutions. The diagram helps identify key stakeholders, available support systems, coordination gaps, and weak institutional linkages. The information strengthens disaster preparedness by improving collaboration among agencies and enhances response planning by clarifying roles, responsibilities, communication channels, and resource sharing mechanisms during emergencies. Next is seasonal calendar. Seasonal calendar is a participatory tool that illustrates seasonal variations in hazards, livelihoods, weather patterns, diseases, resource availability, and community activities throughout the year. Community members identify periods when disasters such as floods, drought, cyclones, landslide, or forest fires are most likely to occur, along with times of increased vulnerability. The calendar also highlights changes in income, food security, water availability, and also health risks. This information enables disaster managers to anticipate seasonal threats and plan timely interventions. It is particularly valuable for preparedness, helping schedule awareness campaigns, mock drills, evacuation plannings, resource stockpiling, and early warning activities before high risk seasons. Timeline or historical profile. Timeline is a participatory tool that records major disasters and significant events experienced by a community in chronological order. Community members document the type of hazard, year of occurrence, impacts on people, property, livelihoods, and the coping or recovery measures adopted. This historical record helps identify recurring hazards, changing risk patterns, and trends in disaster frequency and severity. It also highlights successful community practices and lessons learned from past events. The information supports comprehensive risk assessment by providing evidence of historical vulnerability and resilience and guides the development of realistic mitigation, preparedness, and disaster risk reduction strategies for future emergencies. Vulnerability and capacity matrix is a participatory assessment tool that systematically compares a community's vulnerabilities and capacities across physical, social, economic, environmental, and institutional dimensions. The matrix identifies factors that increase disaster risks such as weak infrastructure, poverty, limited awareness, or environmental degradation, alongside existing strengths like skilled volunteers, local knowledge, emergency resources, and community organizations. By presenting both weaknesses and strengths in a structured format, it helps prioritize areas requiring interventions while recognizing available capacities. These tools forms the foundation of integrated risk assessment and supports the development of effective mitigation, preparedness, and community resilience building strategies. Significance in disaster management planning lies in its ability to make disaster risk reduction community centered, evidence based, and sustainable. Participatory assessment tools ensures that local knowledge, priorities, and experiences are incorporated into planning, creating a strong sense of community ownership. Using multiple tools together enables cross-verification and triangulation of data, improving the accuracy and reliability of risk assessment. The findings supports the design of hazard-specific mitigation measures, preparedness plans, standard operating procedures, and efficient resource allocation for response and recovery. Most importantly, the process empowers communities to assess their own risks, strengthen local capacities, and build long term disaster resilience. Thank you, learners, for your patience hearing.